Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight I wanted to discuss Moby's most, I guess, sort of like uneven album that he has pretty much ever released, but definitely that he had released in his pre-superstardom era, and that is Animal Rights. And the reason that I feel that this record is so uneven is because as far as the more like traditional Moby sounding electronic focused tracks, this is easily one of the best records he's ever made. But scattered throughout this album is a lot more aggressively focused guitar-based tracks. And some of them completely tear it up, and they're great, and they're fast, and they're fierce. But for the most part, I find that the guitar-based tracks on here, or the more aggressive guitar-based tracks, they're lacking something. And some of the time they drone on for too long. And I don't love his cover of That's When I Reach for My Revolver. So I just kind of feel like the guitar aspects of this album are completely out of balance with the more, like I said, traditional Moby-sounding electronic aspects. Now, as far as the electronic aspects are concerned, like I said, this is some of the best material Moby has ever written and ever recorded. I just wish that maybe they'd been released as two separate EPs. You know, one could have been called Animal and the other could have been called Rights. Sort of like the Nine Inch Nails with Broken and Fixed. Separating the two, because when I've done that myself, where I've pulled off all of the electronic tracks and all of the more aggressive guitar-based tracks, and I've put them into two separate folders, and I've listened to them separately, and I really find that the guitar-based tracks, they lack a lot of replay value. They're good, like he's a really strong songwriter, but they're just not nearly as strong as the other folder I had created for the electronic tracks. And the thing that I love about Animal Rights is this is coming off the sort of Everything Is Wrong era, and with the electronic songs on here, they actually start to sound like how Moby would sound with play, and definitely post-play, the post-play era, or the modern Moby era, which he's just been sort of perfecting since then. And that's what I love about the electronic tracks, is this is a really old album from him that is before play, but the tracks on there, they sound like they fit in perfectly on Destroyed or Wait For Me. And they're really evolved, and they're compositionally speaking, they have such a sense of togetherness, and there's a lot of heart. And I'm not saying that there isn't heart on the guitar-based, more aggressive songs, but they just don't fit. This record is so uneven because it'll be track 1 is electronic, track 2 and 3 are aggressive guitar-based tracks, track 4 is electronic, track 5 is electronic, track 6 is guitar, and back and forth, and it feels like it's a mess. It's like you're kind of tossed into this blender, and nothing really fits, and everything's just kind of swirling around and splashing you in the face with all this shit. And it's not the kind of chaos that I'm looking for. Like, I like it when music tosses me into a blender, but I'm looking for more of that from like a band like Hell Nation or the Agoraphobic. I'm not looking for that sort of like oral confusion and chaos from somebody like Moby. I'm looking for that like incredibly deep and meaningful and string-based electronic thing that he has done so well from the very beginning of his career, way back in the 90s, right up into everything he's still doing now. That's what I look for when I'm like sourcing out a new Moby record. And now, I got into Moby like everybody else through Play back in '99, so I found this record after that and through the early 2000s, and I was pleasantly surprised at first by how aggressive the guitar-based tracks were. But as the years have rolled on, I just don't go back to them nearly as much as I do like tracks like Living, for example. Like, I've listened to Living like 1,000 times, and I really like Somebody to Love, but I haven't listened to that track nearly as much as, like I said, the electronic side, assuming, you look at it like two sides. His record is kind of like Jekyll and Hyde in that sense. So on one hand, it's cool, but on the other hand, it just feels sort of off-centered, and it just feels uneven and odd. So I will leave it there. So thank you so much for hanging out with me for almost 6 minutes while I discussed Moby's animal rights. If you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Don't forget that you are amazing, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.